So I'd like to welcome all of you to the podcast today, and I'd like to welcome our special guest, Kenny Duford. He is a trainer with Loan Team Training. He is a son of mine who I'm very happy to work with, and he is also a loan partner, a mortgage expert extraordinaire. And his loan officer is very grateful to have him. I just want to introduce you to him today and also go through our process. What does the loan partner do from the minute they come in, from the minute the lead comes in to the end? And so, Kenny, let's talk about a good structure. Now, as you know, tell us about how many different structures. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to do it, right?
Right. There's no one perfect way. Today we'll probably just talk about a couple different ways that you could structure your team as far as roles and responsibilities to just maximize everybody that you have and keep yourself out of the loan process, ideally.
Yes. So I get a lot of questions from loan officers as I'm talking to them, as I'm coaching them, as we're training them. What is the best way to structure a loan partner? Should I have one that talks to the clients from the lead? Should I then send them to another one? How should we do it? And the answer is there's several different ways that it could be very successful, depending on who you have, who you want to hire, what you want to take off your plate, and what you want to continue doing. So, Kenny, let's talk about the structure that you have on your team as an example.
Yeah, I mean, the structure that I work with is if you as a loan officer don't want to be talking to clients and doing all of the converting upfront, you have somebody like me who literally talks to the client from the very, very beginning. Now, the realtor may send the lead to the loan officer, but this person is the one that's making that initial phone call, structuring the loan, putting the numbers together, basically doing everything so that the loan officer does not have to be involved. As soon as the loan officer gives this person this loan off, as soon as the loan officer gives this loan partner the lead and the information, they're hands off and they're going on to the money making activities, meeting with agents, teaching classes, those kinds of things. So not everybody has that structure. Obviously, not every loan officer wants to give up that much control or is ready to or is able to hire somebody that, that does that, because you have to have a steady flow of leads coming in the door to be able to afford something like that, obviously. But it's a great structure if you want to be disengaged and really, really get out there and grow your business. So I take the first phone call. I take loan applications, I structure, I look up guidelines, I decide which loan option is best for the client. I put together different rate options for the client. I discuss those rate options with the client. I work with them as they're shopping with other lenders if they are. And really, I do everything that's needed, including running the automated underwriting system, pulling credit, doing all of those things to make sure that it is 100% good to go, all the way up until the time when either they're under contract for a purchase or starting the refinance process, getting ready to sign disclosures. Disclosures is basically where I stop. I don't send out disclosures or perfect the file to make sure it's ready for disclosures. I hand over a clean file with all of the documents, all of the information in there. May need to be tidied up by a bit by the next person in line, but that's kind of like where my role. Now, some loan officers who still are having those first few phone calls might have somebody similar to me who kind of cuts off at a similar point, but it really just depends on whether or not you as a loan officer want to give up that control.
Okay. Traditionally, what you do then, Kenny, and I like to explain it this way because the traditional old school role before these positions like yours became very more popular is you do what the LO used to do before they decided they just wanted to go get more business. It's not that they
Yeah.
don't necessarily want to talk to the client. Some of them do, some of them don't. It's more that they want to free up their time to go out and bring more loans in the door.
Mhm.
And they can't do that if they're talking to every client. They can't take a vacation if they're talking to every single client, because then there's nobody on their team that can talk to them. And that's the biggest thing I see in the position that you're in is you free up the loan officer to have freedom to go get more business and freedom to take time off if they want to
Mhm.
take it without being interrupted while they're with their kids or on vacation. How many stories have I heard over the years? It's unbelievable how many times people go on vacation or they go out of town or they go to an event and they can't even disconnect because there's nobody on their team that they trust that can do that job. And it really comes down to trust. That's what it
Yep.
is. Your loan
Yep.
officer trusts you that you have your stuff together and you know what you're doing. And you can reach out to them if you need something.
Yeah. I talk to my loan officer often if I need anything, if I have questions, or I want to run an idea by him, or hey, this is how I think I'm going to structure this one. Do you agree? It's something that's not like black and white.
Hmm.
So yeah, I have good communication with him. Quick phone call isn't going to interrupt all the marketing activities that he's doing, but having to take a loan application and look up guidelines and find a lender for this particular commercial client that we have, yeah, that's going to take a lot of time and kind of torpedo an entire day.
Hmm. And
And the
so,
more involved they are up front, the more involved they're probably going to be throughout the loan process as well.
yes.
Naturally, they're going to want to monitor and babysit the loan, even if it doesn't need to be.
Yes. And so you as a loan partner, and there's several people that are going to be listening to this that have loan partners or are loan partners. How do you nicely, tactfully, respectfully tell your loan officer, let me take it. I can do this. I own this role. How do you remind him?
Uh, Typically, I say something like, well, it depends on the situation. Like if he says that he got a lead and he's going to give the first phone call or something like that and take the loan application, I'd be like, are you sure you want to do that? I mean, you're paying me to do that. I've got the time to do it. I'm happy to do it. You can say something like that. If obviously I've had conversations with him about this already too, so it's easier for me to remind him. If I'm having to do that for the very, very first time, probably would wait until after the fact and then talk to him and be like, hey, like I know you talked to this person. It's totally fine. Obviously, they're your client. They're yours. You can do whatever you want. But I know that you trust me. You did hire me to do this role. And to be honest, it makes it quite a bit easier for me to do my job and actually build a rapport with the client if I'm able to talk to them from the very, very beginning. Now that you've talked to this client, they're probably going to be reaching out to you and calling you more often, and you're just naturally going to have to be more involved. And I just thought the reason I was hired is because you don't want to be that involved and you don't want to have to keep on getting dragged back into it. So
Yes. And
next
like
time,
we,
just let me know and I'm happy to talk to him. And I'll even say something like, if you want to listen to the way I talk to him, feel free to kind of listen in as a silent third party listener on the phone. I have no problem with that.
Mhm. And I think that's a great thing to do when somebody first comes on board. And
Right. To build the trust.
yes, to build the trust. Once they hear how you sound and that you're owning the role and that you sound really good with the clients and you're talking kind of like they would in,
Mhm.
in your own way with your own flair, but you're treating the clients and they're hearing it, that makes a huge difference because
Yeah,
then they're
for
going to
sure.
trust and they're going to let go a little bit easier. It's
Right.
hard to be in the
Hiring
dark.
100%. And hiring my role is the job that I do and becoming completely disengaged from the process. It's pretty you're basically handing over the keys to your business, right? Because if you hire a person that doesn't do a good job, you're not going to convert any of the leads that you're getting in. Relationships can be damaged. So you really do have to trust the person for sure.
You
It's not
do.
something where you just should just be like, I was told I need to hire this, so I'm just going to hire it and I'm going to go get all this business. It's a little bit more involved than that, and you need to take a little bit of time with the person that you hire to make sure that they're doing things the way you want them to do them.
I agree. Yes. And we're going to do another podcast about maybe next week. I'll do another podcast about how to hire, how to find someone like this for in this role. So your role takes them to contract,
Mhm.
basically. And then the next person on the team is also a loan partner, correct?
Mhm. Yes.
And what do they do?
So they, at the very beginning, they basically double check my work. First of all, they make sure the client qualifies. They rerun the automated underwriting system, all that stuff. They recalculate income. So they're the second set of eyes in case I missed anything. Then they are ordering title. They're ordering disclosures. They're making sure that the client knows how to sign the disclosures, answer any questions the client has about them. They then order the appraisal and get the file ready for the processor. And really, they should have full document list. They should have all of the docs they need. It should be a really, really clean file before it ever hits the processor's lap. So the structure that we have is that the processors that we have should be able to handle a lot of loans because they're not needing to paste conditions before they submit it to underwriting. They really should have almost everything, and maybe the processor might look at the file and say, hey, we actually need one or two more things, and they have to go get those, but it's really, really minimal instead of having to do a full look at the file. Oh, hey, we still need 10 different documents before this can go into underwriting. They don't have to worry about that because that's what the loan partner is doing.
So the first loan partner, which is you, licensed, has already given everything. You've given everything that you can. It's a clean file. The 1003 is clean. It's easy to understand. There's a cover sheet with it so that the next person, the loan partner, can understand what's been going on. And that cover sheet's going to let them know anything that you've talked to the client about that may not show up in the 1003, right? So it's
Correct. Yeah,
clear.
like, hey, the purpose of this refinance, here's why we're doing it. Here's why we're doing it this way. Here's why we're structuring it this way. He wants X amount of cash out because he needs to pay off a spouse at closing or something like that. There's
Mhm.
all the details that you would need should be handed over to the loan partner so that when they get the file, they should have a really, really clear idea as to what's going on.
Okay, great. So we've had the first loan partner look at it. It's clean. It's not just thrown together. It's clean. It's ready to go. As much as possible, there might be, an old bank statement or some little thing that the loan partner needs to get.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, exactly. Sometimes I won't label things like I'm not going to put bank statement April, bank statement May. Sometimes it'll just be like a random document name and they have to rename them. Sometimes there may be a page of a bank statement missing that they have to go after. Sometimes we may need some updated pay stubs. Maybe I got all of their pay stubs 3 months ago and it took them 3 months to find a house. I'm not going to be requesting updated pay stubs every single week. So when the loan partner gets it from me, they're going to have to request new pay stubs, stuff like that. So there's
Mhm.
definitely some things that they're going to be needing to do. Obviously, they're going to be doing verifications of employment, all that stuff.
Title and everything like that. So they
Mhm.
do all of that. And that what I love about that is they're the second set of eyes. So you've had one person that is really good at what they do, already looking at it, and another person who's really good at what they do, double checking it before it goes to the processor. So the processor will, like you said, has very minimal to do because the other two have already looked through it thoroughly.
Yeah, the processor shouldn't be caching anything like any mistakes or, oh, hey, this isn't going to work or something like that. They should not be doing that because you've already had two sets of eyes look over it. But just in case, the processor would be the third set of eyes before it ever gets seen by an underwriter.
Yes. Okay, so that's the structure that you guys have.
Right.
And how does that benefit your loan officer for you to be freed up to take as many calls as possible? Like to not be stuck in the weeds doing what the second loan partner normally does. And the reason I'm asking the question is some people will tell me, I would like to get a loan partner that takes the lead all the way from lead to processor.
Mhm.
And that's
Uh,
possible, but their volume is going to be very different because it's
right.
very time consuming to get all the documentation and do all the follow up and everything that has to be done. So how does it benefit your loan officer to have you doing just the lead to the contract?
I would say a couple things. One, the back end work, once the contract comes in, you have to be really detailed. You have to have an eye for detail. And being honest, if you find somebody like me that can convert as well as I can and that can convert as well as you would want to hire in this position, they're probably not going to be very detail oriented. Just by nature, if you look at their disc profile, it would be a freaking unicorn if they could do what I do up front and then also be detail oriented enough to make sure the processor gets a clean file. So first of all, I think there's a big conflict there because the details are going to be missed or the converting isn't going to be as good. I don't think you're going to be able to find somebody who can do both extremely well. And if you can, like Irene said, they're going to be severely capped to what their capacity could be like, which is fine for right now because, maybe you're not having 15, 20 loans in your pipeline, but as soon as rates go down and the floodgates open, your system is going to break because that person is not going to be able to keep up with as many leads as they need to keep up with and also do all of the things on the back end that take time. So I don't think they'll be good at the back end stuff if they're like me. And even if you say, okay, whatever, they may not be the best at it, but they're going to do their best and they're going to do it, that's fine. But it's also gonna be more time consuming if we don't have an eye for detail and we're going to do that. So like if my loan officer asked me to step in and start doing that stuff, not only would it take me a lot of time, I'm just not very detail oriented, so I'd make mistakes, which can obviously cause tension among your loan team. Nobody likes making mistakes. Loan officers don't like when we make mistakes. It just causes some like weird tension. So I just don't really think that is the best idea. If you're going to do that, it's probably better if you, as the loan officer, take the loan consultations. And and that's a really common structure is the loan officer
Mhm.
does the loan consultations, they pre-approve the client, but they don't ever have to do things like request docs. They have the phone call, they say, hey, here's what we're going to do. We're going to set it up this way. And then they tell their loan partner, here's how we're going to structure the loan, request the documents, it's yours from here on out. Right. So that the loan partner that's doing that, they don't really have to be good at converting because they're not doing converting. They're just going to get documentation. That's the loan partner that's probably going to be pretty good at the back end stuff and have an eye for detail, which is fine if you want to do it that way. That's a really, really popular structure. But if you want to have it set up my way, I really, really, really would not recommend having them like me, a person like me, do the back end stuff. If anything, I would have your processor take it where the loan partner takes it, at the contract line, like where we're under contract and ready to go, have
Mhm.
the processor start from there. And if you do that, obviously your processor is not going to be able to handle as many loans. But
Right. So you're capped when you do that. If you take it from lead, if the loan partner takes it all the way from lead to processor, they're capped at how many. I was just having this conversation with a loan officer yesterday. You can do, because he's ready to hire someone. I said, you could do that, but you're going to be capped and you're going to end up having to hire another person. And
right.
and it's not that you're not good at detail. It's just that you're focused on the detail of one specific part of the job.
Yeah. I
Right?
mean,
You're not focused on the detail like someone like you who's great at converting and great at focusing on getting a person qualified and treating them right and giving them the wow experience is not necessarily going to be as focused on the detail of having to do all the follow up and having to make sure they get the documents in and having to do all of the other stuff that's
all of
very
the
time consuming and
yeah,
follow up
all of the
required.
boxes that you have to check within your LOS to make sure things go out perfectly and stuff
Yes.
like that. It's just not something that we're great at because we're more typically somebody like me is a little bit more rapid. I'm focused on trying to get the next person through. I mean, obviously, when I'm reviewing documentation to make sure the borrower qualifies, I have an eye for detail and I can catch things. It's just a little bit different than the back end LOS stuff that you're going to have to do to get disclosures ready, ordering title, all that stuff.
Yes. Are you holding off on training your loan partners, your loan assistants, your team members, and support staff on how to wow your clients? Are they getting that kind of training from you? You probably plan on training them if you get a few extra hours, but when does that happen realistically? And meanwhile, your team is doing the best they can with the information that they have. But this kind of training really doesn't exist anywhere else. When you do the training, that means you're not as responsive as you want to be with your clients and you're not hitting your closing and income goals as a loan officer. So how much is it costing you to not have a team that's properly trained how to wow clients and referral partners so that they only want to work with you because of the great experience that they're getting? We teach them how to use efficient step-by-step processes and systems that work, how to follow up so nothing falls through the cracks and loans close on time and even early, how to build wonderful relationships with clients, how to wow people so they go, man, that was an amazing experience. The members of his or her team are amazing. They're so on it. How to use scripts and dialogues for winning clients, setting expectations, and communicating with clients so that you can prevent problems down the road. How to handle difficult clients, how to make clients feel appreciated and valued, and how to handle and overcome objections. It might be time to ask for some help. That's why we're here. Loan Team Training has our next live WOW training coming up. We train your team for you so you can focus on closing loans. Check it out at loanteamtraining.com for our next class and see how many 5-star reviews we have from past WOW training participants and their loan officers who sent them at loanteamtrainingreviews.com. Remember, it's an interactive virtual training with live trainers, and we train any of your support staff that is communicating with clients and referral partners. Our sessions are 9 to 11:30 Pacific time. Check us out and sign your loan partner or team member up at loanteamtraining.com. And when I'm talking about the structure of a team, everyone on the team has to treat clients the same way. When I say the same way, I mean with the same care, with the same friendly attitude. How important is that? Do you see that, Kenny? You've been on a couple different, you've been your own loan officer, you've been on other teams. How important is it that everyone on the team treats clients in a way that wows them?
It's really important because first of all, no client ever wants to feel like they're being passed around from person to person. That's the number one thing you want to avoid. That's a big problem with realtors. They don't like working with teams and their clients come to them and say, "Hey, I was talking to Joe, but now I'm talking to Billy. I'm just kind of confused on who I'm going to be talking to next," right? No client likes to feel that way. That's how they feel when they talk to call center people and stuff like that. It's just not a good thing. So even if we accurately explain hey, here's the next person in line. You're going to talk to this person. Their job is X, which is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to introduce the next person whenever they kind of come into the picture and are going to be talking to the client. If that person isn't very good at talking to the client, if they don't have a good bedside manner, if they don't make the client feel good, that client is not going to want to really talk to them, right?
Mhm.
It's just like the restaurant analogy that we always give. If you go to a restaurant and the hostess is extremely warm, welcoming, you feel great before you get to the table, you've got a great server, and the food sucks, so obviously you're not going to want to go back. If you go in and the hostess is immediately rude to you, even if your server is good and the food is good, you're probably going to consider whether or not you want to go back because of the bad feeling you got at the very get-go. And if the hostess is great, warm, welcoming, your server sucks, the food is amazing, you're still probably not going to want to go back, or you're going to
Yes.
really, really question whether or not you want to. So every single piece of it really has to be good. So that's why on our team, every single person is able to talk to the client. Like we don't have a processor who doesn't talk to clients. Whenever I hear that, oh, my processor doesn't talk to clients, that's tough. No offense
Yes.
to the processors that don't talk to clients, but they're going to not like they're not going to be somebody that you want if you have a lot of deals coming through the door because it just makes more work for the other members of your team. It's just harder.
Yes. Yeah, that is my least favorite model, is when the processor doesn't talk to the clients, because it just you just go back and forth and you waste a lot of time
The
where they could
processor
just
is the
pick
one
up the
that's working
phone.
directly with the underwriter. They're the one that's going to know everything. Why would I play a game of telephone where, okay, underwriter says this to the processor now tells the loan partner, now the loan partner calls the client. This
Hmm.
doesn't make sense. There's too many things are going to get lost in translation that way.
Yeah. So those are not my favorite. Doesn't mean it doesn't work. There are some teams that have that and it
Right.
works very well because of the people that they have and they handle it really well, but that's not my favorite model at all.
Everyone on your team should have baseline customer service to at least be able to talk to clients warmly, nicely, make clients feel good. That should be a general requirement you have for everybody on your team.
Yes. The other thing we talk about a lot in the WOW training when we're talking to loan partners is making sure that you are not just emailing people. Like a lot of people in the industry want to just send emails out for communication. Now, if a client says this is the best way to get a hold of me, obviously you're going to email them if that's the way that they say, but that is so rare. I know for one
Right.
thing, if someone emails me, that is not the best way to talk to me.
So
Like,
days go by before you even see it.
exactly.
And when it's a request for conditions, obviously you're just going to lose days of the loan process. So emails aren't bad. Obviously, we send emails to request things all the time, but it's just followed up with text. Hey, just sent you an email. Please check it out. Let me know if you have any questions.
Yes, that's
Simple
the
as that.
difference.
And
Mhm.
if it's something that requires a little bit more detail, then they need to pick up the phone and then follow that up with the text as well.
Yes. Can't hide behind the emails. That's not the best way. And we go through that in our WOW training when we teach them that. So we've got this model where if someone wants to go out and get more business and grow their business and bring it in, they have two choices really that they could do. They could hire someone like you, a person in your position that does the converting from lead all the way to contract, and then have a loan partner that takes it from contract to processor and then keeps in touch with the processor and gets it closed, right? That's one option. I love that option. It's not for everybody because, like you said, not everybody can afford it yet, but some people can't afford not to do it. That's the
Right.
thing, is we think we can't afford the investment, but we can't afford not to do it sometimes. So it just depends on where you are in your production. The other way is for them, like you mentioned, someone takes the first lead, they get them all ready, and then the loan officer themselves do the loan consultation itself.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
just that one piece of it so that they're not taking their time doing the rest of it. But like you said, that could lead to the client wanting to talk to them more throughout the process and make it harder for the loan partner to have constant
Yeah,
communication.
I mean they have to the client if you're the one that structured the deal, you're going to be involved whether you like it or not throughout the process.
Hmm.
Sometimes some loans you'll be more involved than others, but like you're going to be involved because your loan partner that's doing the things on the back end and requesting documents and stuff like that, they weren't involved in pricing. They weren't involved in structuring it. They can't answer questions about the rate. They can't answer questions about, why we structured it this way. What if the client gets another quote mid transaction? Like, how are they going to answer that? So it's not the best if you want to be completely uninvolved.
Right. What I don't like about the loan officer doing the loan consultations, except at the beginning when, they're not closing that many loans. It might work out
Right.
okay.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with doing this if you're newer and you don't have a full team and you can't hire somebody like me. That's okay. Nothing wrong with
Yes,
that.
absolutely. And you're really good at it, and that's okay to be that way. But
Right.
what
We're
I
just
don't
talking about
like,
people who are trying to do both, right? They're trying to get out, grow their business and go from 10 loans a month to 20 loans a month or 25 loans a month, but they still think they can talk to clients. It's not gonna happen.
yes. And they can if they want to work 24/7. That was what I was going to say. What I don't like about that is that they are on their phone all the time. They're constantly being texted. They have no time alone with their family when they go home at night. They can't shut it off. But if they have a loan partner that does that part of the process, they're not involved and they have more freedom. And so
Mhm.
that's the thing is I've had loan officers say to me, well, I'd like to get someone and I'd like to do loan consultations and have them do everything else. Okay, but make sure that person knows how to do loan consultations and they're
Right.
licensed so that when you're gone, they can cover for you. And so there are people like that that can do them, but they don't do them, but they know how.
Right.
And so that's the other way to do it. But having the freedom to go grow your business, having a mortgage expert loan partner like the in your position is the best one to do. And it's worth the investment. Your loan officer made the investment in you to
Mhm.
do that. It's an investment. And
Yep.
just like any investment, it's going to pay off if you get the right one. So that's important.
It's going to be nice when the floodgates open, rates go down, and we're going to have all these refinances. And he has somebody like me to be able to handle all of it. So his business doesn't have to come to a complete halt because he has to take 20 loan applications a week.
Yes. And the
So,
other thing is you're freed up. You have plenty of time to take applications because that's all
yeah.
you do. Like
Yeah.
that's not all you do, but that's your main job.
Right. Every now and then I'm pre-approving somebody and it takes 2, 3 hours because their income is insanely complicated. They have 12 rental properties. They have an S corp. They have like 4 different partners part of that corp. Like, so there's things that obviously can take time. Sometimes it's a really weird situation and you have to get it in front of an underwriter. So a lot of those things take a little bit more time, but I still have time to do, even if I'm doing, 10, I can do, well, if we were busy enough, I could probably do 10 loan consultations a day and still do all the pre-approving stuff that I needed to do and get it done. I'd be extremely busy doing that much, but that's what we were doing back in 2020.
And you
Yeah.
like being busy.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just a lot better when we're busy. I hate being sitting still and not doing anything.
So that's a good thing. And that's the kind
Right.
of loan partner that loan officers want. They want the person that wants to do not just busy work, but actual work, that's really going to bring business in the door.
Right. Yeah. I mean, somebody like me, I'm not the type of person where if you tell me to do 8 hours of data entry, I'm going to be happy because I have something to do. That's definitely not the case, right? Like I want to be busy doing like the job that I was hired to do, which was pre-approve and convert clients and talk to clients. That's the stuff that
Mhm.
I like doing.
Yes. Not that you wouldn't do the other stuff. It's just
All
that's
right.
not you don't want to just fill in your time. You want to help them bring business in the door. That's what you're doing when you're converting is you're helping them.
Yeah. If all I did was busy work, I wouldn't be worth what I was hired for. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
if somebody like me has a specialty and you pay a little bit more for that specialty than you would for somebody who's just doing simple data entry or making, 500 phone calls a week for like past database calls and stuff like that. Stuff like that doesn't really take a lot of skill or specialty at all, but obviously converting clients that, a little bit tougher to do. So,
Yes. So that's the structure. That's if you have a loan partner, mortgage expert up front, and you have another loan partner that takes it from contract to processor, and then the
mhm.
processor, and that person is still involved in making sure it gets closed. And that's not to say that you're not involved. Obviously, if they need something, what's the procedure there? If
If like a processor loan partner needs something, I basically take the job that a loan officer would normally do. I get involved as needed.
yes,
They know that they know to not involve me unless I'm needed, but sometimes they have questions. Sometimes things aren't super clear on my notes or as clear as I thought they were, so I have to answer questions about structuring. Sometimes they're not getting documents back, even though they've requested them 2 or 3 times, right? So I'm involved. I'm choosing when to involve the agents. So I still kind of oversee each loan at a high level. If we get a
okay,
really, really involved loan, sometimes I'm working on that for a while, and which obviously isn't the best, but sometimes it's just what you have to do. Some loans are a lot more involved than others.
exactly. All right. Well, hopefully this has been helpful to the loan officers today. We're going, the next one that we're going to do is going to be on how to find that right loan partner, how to interview them, how to find them, the questions to ask, things like that, that would be really important in hiring a loan partner. And if you have any questions, you guys can email me at Irene and Kevin at loanteamtraining.com so that we can cover that in the next podcast. We haven't recorded it yet, so we can cover it with, if you send us questions, things that you want to know about hiring, just send us an email at Irene and Kevin at loanteamtraining.com, and we'll try to answer those on the next one. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Kenny. I appreciate you
Thanks for
as
having me.
always. Appreciate the good job that you do as a loan partner, and also when you're training with us. Our next training coming up is WOW training, and we also have a class on converting. So Kenny here has come up with a class, and we do it together most of the time on converting clients. So tell us a little bit about that, Kenny, for the loan officers that have this position.
Right. You can even be loan officers if you feel like you're not the best at converting clients, if you feel like you struggle against people who rate shop, if you just feel like you want to improve your sales skills in general to better convert clients, that's who it's for. We talk in real ton of detail about everything that's important to convert that client. I mean, if you think about it, you have maybe 2 or 3 conversations to convince a client to work with you instead of everybody else. So there's a lot of tiny, tiny details that you got to pack into those first couple conversations, a lot of things that need to be done properly and need to be right so that you have the highest chance of converting them. So we go into a lot of that stuff, a lot about building confidence, having the right mindset, using transparency in the way that will help the client build trust with you. We go into a lot of scripting, a lot of ways to handle the first initial phone consultation, how to do that loan consultation. We go through a few different structures there, scripts that work against rate shoppers, scripts that work with first-time home buyers. We talk a lot about building rapport in those first few phone conversations, asking the right questions, getting clients to speak more and having us listen more instead of us talk more. And we want to make sure that we're listening to the clients more often than we're talking to them, because we're asking them the right questions that are going to get us the information that we need. Having creative mortgage strategies to help people save money, and structuring things and presenting them in a way that kind of sets us apart as mortgage strategists, mortgage experts. So there's a lot that we go into. The whole curriculum is found on our website, loanteamtraining.com. And if you have any specific questions about what we teach, what we don't teach, if your person would be a good fit for it or not, you could always go to talktothetrainers.com and schedule a little strategy session with us, and we'll be pretty transparent with you. I've told people before, hey, don't sign up for the training. It's not going to be a good fit for you. Or, hey, this is going to be a great fit for you, and here's why. So,
Well, good. Well, thanks for being here, Kenny. And thanks everybody for listening today. And we'll see you on the next one. We appreciate you being here and spending your time with us. We know you have lots of things to do, and we're grateful that you're here. So enjoy your week.
see you later.